Welcome to the Windsurfing podcast, and we are live again this week, and we are live for a reason. Because if you've been following the channel, you will realise we put a pretty ridiculous video out on Sunday. Had mixed opinions, I won't lie, but the thing went absolutely crazy. It's up to over 500,000 views, which is insane. It's probably nearly my top rated video, which I won't lie, I'm actually upset about, because when people go to the channel, that'll be the first thing they go, oh, let's have a look at this channel. What's their favorite video? Anyway, obviously I didn't make the video. We're going to discuss that, but I'm going to bring in the guy who made the video, who seems to be doing pretty well for himself these days.
I'm enjoying this new life, Benny. Yeah. How are you?
Living the dream, mate. Living the dream. What does it feel like to be a viral superstar?
Oh, I mean, the last 2 days have been quite amazing. You know, all these checks coming in. It's why are you still in the caravan, mate? When are you cashing yours in?
It's because it's not my video. I had to ship you all the funds. So if you don't know, like I said, let's get you up to speed. Obviously, Paul Van Bellen's back. We're going to be doing other stuff apart from talk about this video. We've got a few quiz questions coming in, which you guys can answer on the live. If you tuned into Facebook, maybe I'll put some polls on. But we've got to talk about this video because there's definitely a few questions. I've had a few subscribers disappear. Not so happy. I've had a few beer money donations cancelled. It's been a bit of a crazy week, but everyone's like, but Ben, you must have killed it on the monetization. Let me just show you how much we made. I say we because Paul made the video. Let me just share the screen of my monetization. I'm going to say our monetization. Share screen, Google, and I mean YouTube Analytics. Are you ready for the big number?
Drum roll.
There we go. It is 60 pence. 60 pence. We've had 561,000 views. I've had a fair few subscribers extra. It is 51 times more viewed video than any of my other videos. But I've made 60 cents. How do you feel? You better remortgage that penthouse, mate.
I might have to move out of here sooner than I thought, Betty. It's a bit disappointing. You promised me a lot more than that.
Yeah, so just so anyone who doesn't know, when you put a video on YouTube, it's not so simple anymore. It has to tick certain guidelines. And obviously in that video, there was a naked man with a gun. There was Arnold Schwarzenegger, well, shooting a young kid. That makes it sound really dramatic. I mean, it was a more fun thing than that. There was kite surfers wounding themselves, and there was a pair of big boobies in there, I think, as well. Yeah. So there was on the thumbnail. So let me just address a few of those first, because there's a few people getting the knickers in a twist and getting all upset about it. The reason why that video came about, Paul made it 2 years ago. Yeah, 2 years ago.
Well, I actually checked. It was December 2020, so almost 2.5 years ago. Yeah.
Okay, so 2.5 years ago. And there was a craze, there has been a craze for a while, where people take, I've seen it on lots of things, but they take voiceovers and then add it to different things. There's some classics out there. I'm just trying to think of the best ones off the top of my head. What have I seen? Oh man, one of the first.
Gordon Ramsay. Was it Gordon Ramsay?
Yeah, Gordon Ramsay. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a few like where you take the voice and you basically put what they're talking about to something else. Now, obviously, lots of you got it. Maybe you follow the channel, you understand me. But if you were new to the channel and just watched that video, you might just think, what the hell's going on? Or you actually thought we made it like that. The reason the kite crashes are in there is just because it was so not real that it was kind of funny. The reason the boobs are in there and the big false sends, that's because that's funny. Like I say, a lot of you got it. Some of you didn't get it.
Look, it is. Some people have commented. I think we said that 80% of 80 or 90% of people thought it was funny, and maybe 10, 15, 20 thought it wasn't funny.
Yeah.
I can understand if people don't find it funny, because it's pretty it's like simple, stupid humor, but probably reflects a bit who you are as well, Ben. Like we just like that sometimes silly humor. And when I made that video as well, I obviously I never thought we'd be sitting here talking about it 2.5 years later and after 500,000 views. But I remember when I made it, I wasn't really thinking too much about everybody out there. I just thought I'm going to make something that I reckon Ben's going to laugh at. That's all I thought. Like, yeah, like I just thought, Ben's probably got a similar sense of humor to me, where it's just so dumb and ridiculous and un-PC. And so as long as it laughs, I don't really care if anyone like. I just that was literally it. Like, but
there was
funny because
I was going to say there's a few people saying, Ben, I don't know where your judgment comes from to put that on your channel. And the thing is, what you forget, and I forget, is when I started this channel, I just did it, like Paul said, for himself. You do it because that's what you find funny, or, you know, like I don't take too seriously. The whole world at the moment freaks me out. I won't lie. Like, you know, I watch a lot of YouTube, so you can imagine once you go down a rabbit hole on YouTube go, oh, he likes this sort of thing, and they chuck more stuff at you. So there's so much stuff going on, which is just freaking me out. Like, you just look at celebrities having to answer questions and how careful they have to be with everything they say. That's never been me. Like, my commentary style is say what you see. And sometimes, yeah, you go past the line, but again, like, I don't know. I just feel like the world's almost just gone bonkers, like absolutely bonkers, whether or not that defends the video or whatever. But, you know, going back to the reason I put it on is I've got a friend here who's American. He's got a house in Spain, he's got a house in Portugal. And he said to me, he goes, oh, I listened to your podcast the other day, Ben, Paul Van Bellen. I was like, who the hell is this dude? So I, you know, looked him up and I found that video of Windsurfing.TV, the parody one where he goes, oh my God, I pissed myself. Like, and he made me watch it again. And I was just like, man, this is just ridiculous. And that weekend, I was like, I hadn't had many videos sent me. And the baby's going mental, crying. She's like got colic and stuff. And I was like, it was windy and I really wanted to go sailing. I was just like, everything was just going mad. I thought, maybe I'll just re-put that video on. And, you know, some people have a laugh at it. And it just went ridiculous. So, and me and Paul obviously been talking the last few days. Because when I have a good video, you know, it goes up. Oh, the first day it's like 12,000. You're like, oh my God, it's a absolute banger, or even 6,000, 4,000. You're like happy. This thing, I was looking at it 1 minute. I'm like, I sent him a screen. I said, have you seen that video? It's 80,000. We haven't even done 24 hours yet. So obviously,
Sorry, I was going to say I was chatting with a friend as well, and I remember saying, "Oh, this stupid video has, you know, it's going off or something," and then I was chatting with a friend and I said, oh, it's got like, you know, 300,000 views. And then 5 minutes later, I refreshed it and added like 10,000 in like 5 minutes. I was like, it's quite interesting because, yeah, as a windsurfing content creators, you're lucky if you get 10,000 all up, you know, so to watch something go up by 10,000 in 5 minutes, it's something a bit different. That's for sure.
Yeah. And to be fair, I did make a very clickbaity thumbnail. You know, because when you're making a video, you go to the effort of making a video. I didn't in this case, but you'd want people to click on it. But then you want to deliver content which you think goes with the thumbnail, which I try and do usually. So if it's a serious windsurfing one, there's lots of good windsurfing, you just need a nice windsurfing picture. But when it's like Send It Sunday or something like this, it is a little bit more, you know, a bit crazy and a bit whatever. So you need a bit of a clickbait to get people to click on it. And then maybe they go, oh, actually, it's pretty fun. This one, obviously, there was a big pair of bosoms on the clickbait, which were covered up. There was no nipple action. There's no nothing else like that. You see this on the beach everywhere. And the original picture was posted on a windsurfing forum. And I think I don't know, but it was like taking the pee out of the windsurfer, like riding the waves or whatever, which I thought was just funny in general. If it had been a bloke, whatever. But yeah, some people was opposed to that as well, which I've got a young daughter at the moment and she's seeing more boob action than I am at the moment. That's for sure. So I think boobs are quite, you know, they're not, is it that bad? I don't know. You guys can let me know in the comments. I don't really get offended by boobs, but maybe some people do.
Yeah, I tell you what is bad though, Benny, is because so Ben, okay, if I can just give my little story too. So basically, Ben a couple of days ago says, "Oh, do you mind if I re-upload that Send It mashup video you did?" And I just was like, yeah, cool, like no worries, like not thinking. I just thought, oh, a few of you guys out there will watch it. Then I see the thumbnail that he's created with my stupid head next to a big pair of Hooters, and I'm like, okay, well, I guess now I'm immortalized on that thing. And then the description of it was XXX full send, which like is, and then it says Paul Van Bellen, the editor, and I'm thinking, if I'm going for a job or something and someone like types in Paul Van Bellen, they're just going to see my head next to like these big pair of boobs, and so that was interesting for me. And then watching the video just blow up, I'm like, holy moly, where's this going to end up? Like, so yeah, that was an interesting. I was slightly nervous as well, and to Ben's credit, I asked him if he could change, just not have Paul Van Bellen and just put PVB, because, yeah, I don't know. It's weird, isn't it, Ben? Like it's for me in private with friends, yeah, I wouldn't have a problem with any of this sort of stuff. But you're also trying to be like, you're living in this sort of world where you're trying not to like, create too many problems or anything like that. So it's been an interesting 48 hours with this.
I would say it's a difficult balance, because there's a lot of people saying, oh, there's no kids, there's no this, there's no that. But if we're a bunch of boring old windsurfers and we're just talking about measuring extensions and harness lines, which, don't get me wrong, I'm quite into that, I'm quite nerdy, but the whole channel, I feel, has to have like crazy stuff, weird stuff. Maybe you don't agree with it all, but it shouldn't stop you supporting the whole channel. Like, I always say this, it's a channel. So you're going to have different programs that you like. We're going to go through stages where maybe you're not totally into it, and then you're going to get lifts. Like, I try and, when I'm trying to sell it to brands and get you guys to help donate and support the channel, I try and sell it as a 12-month thing. I don't think you should look at it as a weekly or a monthly thing. It's a whole year. So at the end of the year, like I always say this to the brands, did you feel like we covered it? Do you think we energized the sport? As a beer money guy, do you think, I entertained you for 30 euros a year or whatever it might be? And if you think the answer is yes, then I'm happy. Like, and you guys are probably happy. And just to answer Richard here, did you really going to get 60p? Yeah, probably going to get 60p for that video, which is realistically, it's insane. But there is also other stuff going on with this video, which I will tell you, because apparently we're pretty big in India right now. I don't know how big windsurfing is in India, but also, which I'm totally gutted about, is this video will probably be at the top of my most viewed videos. So someone coming to my channel fresh will go, oh, the most viewed video, this must be what they're all about. Click on it and you'll see this rubbish. There's no windsurfing in it. They'll have no context. They'll have no understanding, and probably go, oh my God, this is not for me. So I'm almost gutted about that, because my top viewed video before now was the epic race between Matteo Iachino, Antoine Albo, head-to-head, great drone work, real interesting race. That was the top video. I was really happy with that. Now we got this thing, which is
well, it's kind of ironic, isn't it? Because now there's going to be a race between those two videos to see which one maintains the lead.
Man,
so it'll be
yeah. God,
yeah. It's also it's interesting too, Benny. When it started going, more views, and there was a few negative comments here and there. I thought, is this going to backfire? Like, are you going to lose subscribers and beer money and sponsors? And but I mean, just looking at your subscribers there, you've picked up almost 700 subscribers from that video alone, which is that's probably quite a lot better than average, wouldn't it be? Or
yeah, that's like a monthly figure usually. The whole thing is, though, I just hope, because I know how these things work on social media and stuff, sometimes you pick up like bots, and I have a feeling that is what has happened here. I don't think they're real views. I think it's like some bot thing which has got hold of it. I can only think of that explanation because it just went ridiculous. And usually a bot, from what I can understand, it kind of does all these things to make it look like a real channel, so it will subscribe, which you don't want fake subscribers, because then when a video gets sent out, it gets sent to all the subscribers or a proportion of the subscribers. And if those subscribers don't react to your video, then YouTube judge that as a failure. So let's say you have 1,000. This is why you should never pay for views or subscribers or anything. If you have 1,000 subscribers, just to make it easy, and YouTube send it to 10% of that 100, and let's say they're all bots and they don't react to that video, then YouTube or Facebook or whoever it is go, well, that's rubbish. You know, it's not a good video. No one watched it. Right. And they just kill the reach. So you have to be very careful with that sort of side of it. So I'll be upset if they're not real subscribers, but you never know. Maybe they are.
Yeah. I mean, with that many views, you would have picked up a few more legit ones, I'm sure. And I'm noticing a few questions coming in about why you're not making any money. It's because the video, because of the content in it was deemed plus 18.
Well, yeah. So it's called limited monetization. When they say limited, they mean really limited. So that money there, that 60 pence, is from YouTube Premium customers. So let's say a few of you people that watch the channel pay for YouTube Premium, which means they don't watch adverts. I get, compared to the views, a tiny percentage of that. So that will be that 60 cents. But the actual money is they give. I don't know who they give it to. That's what YouTube's great or horrible for. They say it to me, like, let's say you put 10 seconds of a song in your clip, like gold. If I put that in, or Rocket Man, if I put Rocket Man like I used to on the floaty jump section of my videos, YouTube go, no, that's owned by whatever, AC Wadisa or whatever it was. And then they go, right, we're going to take all your money. And you think, hang on, I made a 20-minute video here. I've used 10 seconds, and now you're taking all the money. To me, that's not quite right. Somehow, I'm pretty sure that shouldn't work like that. They should get a percentage of the money, and you should get the other percentage. But it doesn't work like that. It's crazy.
Yeah. Look, I think you're right. Like, why wouldn't they maybe just give you like 50? Like, you could have 50-50 with the content creator and the copyright holder, because then it'll be, you know, if you use a song, like, then you both win. We have to create the content, which is a lot of time, and then the copyright holder also makes money. What are they? They're not really doing anything other than owning. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like 50-50. That'd be cool.
But I tell you what, and this is the interesting one. Like, when I used to watch VHS videos and stuff like this, I would come away, because you'd watch that content over and over and over, you would end up going, oh my God, you know, there's songs you could play me, which were on the Force video, windsurfing video, plug and play, that you play them, or the windsurf movie, you play them now, they instantly transport me to a happy place. Like, and I want that track. I want to buy that track. And I remember when YouTube first started doing it, when you used a track, they put an advert for the track at the bottom that you could buy. So you could buy it for 99 cents or something like this. And I actually thought that was a better way of doing it, because there is a lot of videos that I've watched over and over, and I hear and I think, oh, I like that track, I'd buy it. And if I could just buy it, I would. Like, and I think the music guys would earn way more money. You know, and I think it's a great advert to get people into using to advertising their songs and their bands. There's lots of people who used to watch Board Seeker when we used to do that. And there was a band there, Silver, whatever they went, but they went massive in the end. And then they wanted all the music rights back, and they took it all back. But at the first, like, there was lots of people going, oh my God, I love that track. I love that track. Who's that? Who's that? So it's a great way to advertise your band.
Oh, definitely. I do exactly the same thing. Actually, especially in some of the songs I've put on my videos, I've had comments from people saying that they've looked the artist up to see if they're, you know, are they coming around to their town or, you know, whatever. I've definitely had that. Also, just while we're talking about this whole video thing, I think for anyone out there that's thinking, what's the logic in putting a crazy video like this out there? I think it's also because the general consensus I've had with a lot of windsurfers out there, that windsurfing has kind of gone from this fun, like, image from like the 80s, and then it started to get quite serious, 90s, 2000s, or, not all of it was serious, but it started to kind of lose that happy-go-lucky vibe a bit. Yeah. And I think we're at this point now with windsurfing where people are wanting to shake things up a bit, just to kind of restart things a little bit, or just to make things a bit fresh and just something different. It's not like you're not going to put these sort of videos out there all the time. This is just a bit of a one-off, just to get a bit of a reaction, just to sort of shake people up. Yeah,
I agree. And I've kind of always been like that. And as I said before, when we were talking, it's really difficult because I'm not a comedian, but when you try and do comedic things, you sometimes go past the line, or you miss it, or whatever, and you're never going to keep everyone happy. It's impossible. But I believe if nobody's doing that, and everyone's staying in the middle, and everyone's producing the same, interesting but nerdy-ish content, is good, but you've also got to mix it up. Like, we've got no young people in the sport. Not that this video is going to get lots of new people in, and maybe the dads are going, oh my God, I don't want my kids into this. But essentially, they're probably watching way worse than this, or going to be. Like I say, this ain't even scratching the surface. Again, it's no defense, but I will warn you, there will be weird, funny, close to the line stuff on this channel. This one had an over 18s thing, so kids in theory can't watch it anyway. But it wasn't even X-rated, was it? Or was it? I didn't think it was, but maybe my
video.
Joke. Yeah.
Well, X-rated. I mean, it's obviously quite censored. Like, there's censored pictures, and I mean, look, all the things that are online, this is certainly not in the extreme end. It's relatively mild, but windsurfing has been pretty tame for a while, and they're not used to seeing anything quite like this. Everything's quite, it's tame. It's basically tame, isn't it? But the other thing too is, like, this humor is pretty gutter kind of humor. Like, but that's what I find funny about it. It's like, it's almost like if you get offended by these sorts of things, it's a kind of just not to be so just concerned as much about things like that, because it just, at the end of the day, it's just really quite silly. It's obviously a ridiculous video. I think some people took it the wrong way and thought that you were actually reacting to the images that were shown. I think that's where part of the problem was.
Well, I did, without naming any names, I did have, a beer donator tell me they kind of pulled out, and I wrote an email because I get a cancelled thing when it comes through. So I wrote back saying, I hope you didn't cancel because of this video. And he went, I actually did, because I could see the way the channel's going, and you're going to do more of it, apparently. So I was like, oh my God. So I was like, that's fair enough. I got no problem with that. But just to get things clear, the channel's not just going to go off in one direction with this type of craziness. We've still got a lot of stuff planned this year, which is serious stuff. We've got some nerdy stuff. We've got some competition stuff we're going to be doing. We're in talks with a few things at the moment, which should be pretty interesting. But again, like I said, I try and run the channel from my point of view, which has always worked well. So I'm going to carry on with that. And I do have a bit of a trashy sense of humor sometimes, as well as my nerdy side coming out. That's just life. Like I said, I think you're never going to keep everybody happy. And I don't think you should try and keep everyone happy. I think that's good life advice. If you try and keep everyone happy, you're going to lose, because you're not going to be authentic to yourself, and you're not going to be able to relax. And what I like to do in what I do as a job, which is why I'm always pretty upbeat and I love windsurfing and whatever, is because I am myself. If you meet me in normal life, you won't see a different person, unless the baby's been crying all night and I'm knackered, but, or stressed out. But if you meet me normally, that is me. I'm no different. And a lot of people tell me that, which is, for me, that's a real compliment. Maybe not for other people. I think, oh my God, is he like that in real life? But yeah, I mean, like I said, it would have been nice to use windsurfing clips, but that wouldn't have then been funny, because that's what I do anyway. you know, the reason this is funny is because I'm talking about windsurfing, and somehow Paul has squeezed in all these other stuff, which just makes it ridiculous. And it just
it's
go on.
Yeah, sorry, man. You go.
No, I was just gonna say, it just makes you realize how much, like, and that was done like in a choppy way. If you do it properly, like if you've ever watched there's who's the New Zealand surfer? Oh God, the surf report, the something.
Oh, from
his videos are amazing.
Break. Yeah. What's that? What's the name of that spot? That's
Raglan Surf Report. Now, if you don't follow the Raglan Surf Report on YouTube, do yourself a favor if you like funny stuff, because this guy for me is the GOAT. I love all his stuff. He's done some really funny stuff about foils. It's amazing. Some of the stuff has gone viral. Some of it just does not get the views it should do. But he does this interview with Kelly Slater. And, you know, Kelly Slater's obviously on Zoom like this, doing a real serious call. So he's used all the serious stuff from Kelly, and then he's been on the other end like a Zoom call, and he's asking him obviously questions which are not the questions that Kelly was asked. And then the answers he gives are obviously totally. So he's talking about wigs, and it for me, it's just, I love that type of rubbish. It's just, and it looks real. Like, it really looks real. Anyway,
it's actually funny because I'm looking at the comments. Unfortunately, not everyone can see all the comments unless you're pulling them up.
I'm gonna pull them up now.
Oh, okay. My friend Tim, who is commenting, can you pull up the one, the Tim Shentz one?
Tim Shentz. Let me just have a look. Oh, I don't see it.
It's like it's the fourth from the bottom.
Yes.
Yeah. So Tim, he's not actually making that up. In the video, the very first video, you know, the little kid being asked if he'd rather be windsurfer or kite surfer.
Oh yeah.
It's actually my friend Tim's kid. So Tim windsurfs, but he also does some kite surfing. And ages ago, like years and years ago, he just sent me a video on WhatsApp, and he just asked his kid Finn, so what do you want to be, a kite surfer or windsurfer? You know, and he says, I want to be a kite surfer. Well, then I just sent him a stupid video back of Arnie, you know, blowing him up. It's pretty bad, actually, but we have that kind of sense of humor, and I know him, so it's not a big deal. But anyway, that was the story with that kid. So as Tim has just mentioned there, he said he wasn't hurt in the video, but he died a few weeks later learning to kite surf. So that was a bad joke, but yeah.
Even I was like, oh my God, like, I don't think I can go there. But obviously there is people with a dark sense of humor out there. Like,
yeah, exactly.
That's just how the world is. Yeah, the Raglan Surf Report. Oh, Jesus. I didn't know where to go with that.
No, that was humor. So yeah, look, it can go dark and twisted. I think the other thing too is I like comedy, and I listen to a lot of stand-up comedians. I'm certainly not a stand-up comedian or, you know, anything like that. But when you listen to a lot of stand-up comedians and just comedy, it's like they go to just really. I love the fact that they can push the boundaries of what's almost acceptable or something, because that's where a lot of truths are as well.
Yeah, I'm a massive fan of, like, I always have been, of stand-up comedy, and I mean, I watch when I was in Australia a lot. I used to listen to a lot, like, download audio books and stuff like this, but it was all a lot of stand-up. So Mickey Flanagan and all this sort of stuff, and man, some of them, I love it. I honestly love it. I love it when it's close to the line. So, you know, all this sort of woke stuff is, I can't get my head around it. And again, everyone's got their own deals. That's fine. But for me, whatever it is, it's windsurfing. The main channel is windsurfing. We're going to have a bit of fun. We're going to do some serious stuff. We're going to do a bit of everything. But and it is interesting because it really was Marmite, this video, which I get it. But there were some people, like, you know, absolutely outraged, and there were some people who were just like crying with laughter. Like, I had so many messages going, oh my God, I just watched this, I'm crying. but then I also had the ones that are cancelling and doing that. So it was like, well, I've made these guys really happy. Like they've never seen that video before and are creasing. And then these guys are like threatening whatever. I'm like, oh, oh, I shouldn't laugh. It's funny, really.
Yeah. No, it's been funny. Have you lost any supporters? You said you lost one, did you?
Yeah, I lost a few, quite a few actually.
Oh, a few? How many?
I did gain a few. Actually, I should shout out Matty Clare on here because he actually maybe he felt sorry for me seeing me lose stuff. He actually chipped in some beer money. So good job, Matty. Cheers, mate. So yeah,
cool.
Like I said, it's not an easy game. You can look at the numbers and you think, fuck, sorry, people. We talked about this last week. Like YouTube, it's got this like stigma attached to all millionaires and they're all making good money if you're on YouTube. But it's nothing like that. You've got to be making some seriously big numbered videos, or you've got to be doing financial advice because those the rates of advertising on the channels which offer financial advice and money matters are way bigger. Windsurfing isn't crazily bad like some of the trashy ones are, but it's not great. So like on a normal video that I would make, I might make $50, sorry, if I'm lucky, that's if you're lucky. And most of the time you're making 20 to 30. So, the beer money, the brands, all everything else that's going around, my sponsors, Simmer, that's the reason it's all happening is all those things kind of added together. It's not the advertising from YouTube. And I bet you've got the same issues as we talked about last week.
Yeah. Oh, look, I don't get that many views, but I think I said last time I'm averaging about $2 to $3 a day. Like, that's, if I don't make another video, that's how much is coming in, but I'm not doing it as a job. It was just a hobby, but I am starting to think a little bit more like today I posted a video where I was just doing like a point of view GoPro windsurfing, and that's just got natural sound. So there's no music, there's no copyright issues. And, like a video like that, it might get 2,000 views, it might get 10,000 views over a year. But say you get 10,000 views over a year, that video might make you $100 or something. But, you put one of those out once a week or once every couple of weeks, and it all adds up. By the end of the year, you might have actually made quite a few $1,000s if you put some effort in.
I paid for your GoPro and you.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's the thing. Like if you can pay for the equipment you're buying, like that's pretty cool. For me, for you, it's different. It's more of you're involved a lot more. But so just going back though to the beer money, like it hasn't been a big issue though, has it? Like you've only lost a
no. I lost probably 10.
Oh, 10. Okay.
Gained,
oh, really? 10.
Gained about 3. So
minus
7.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Weirdly, I took a screen grab from the very moment that video went out. After about an hour, I was minus 2 subscribers for this video. It's obviously now plus 687, but in the first hour, I had a minus 2 count, which could have been I gained a few and lost 4. I don't know, but there was a minus 2 on the counter, which was like, oh dear, this is not a good start. So yeah. Wow.
Yeah. I was worried it was going to backfire as well. I looked at my channel, even though it was on your channel, obviously the association with me. I think I've added about close to 100 subscribers in the last 2-3 days or something like that. So I don't think it's
Are they
you know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah, who knows? You can't tell, can you? I don't know. Yeah, can't tell.
No, it's difficult. Monty Python, exactly. And I think, like, how old are you? You're like a year younger than me or older. I can't remember.
I'm 45.
Yeah, okay, so I'm 45. We grew up in that same era, and I look back and like I mean, Paul's got like a collection, which sounds wrong. Like when you're a kid, usually you might have a porn collection or something like that. He's got a collection of windsurfing magazines, and on the front cover of all these magazines, there's literally naked women. There's boobs out here, left, right, and center.
Okay, hold on, Benny. I have to butt in for a second. I sent you that. I just found them online. I don't have those.
Magazines. Here we go. You've got like a big chest of drawers.
No, because it just started. I was typing in women windsurfing because people were saying it was all offensive and this sort of stuff. And then all of a sudden I started finding I don't know how to bring it up. But some of the covers of all of like Windsurf magazine, Board, Surf magazine from the 80s to the 90s, they're like we found covers, didn't we, yesterday from Windsurf magazine? There's just topless women on the cover of Windsurf
I'm not sure.
magazine.
Should I
that was
bring
just,
them up, or am I going to get banned?
you don't have to bring them up, but I'm just saying, like, it's interesting, isn't it? Like 1980, that like you could do that. It's amazing, isn't it? It's
yeah.
I'm not saying that that's what you need to do. Like, remember that one when in 1990 we saw that it's just like a woman, windsurfing without a harness on, kind of, it's just interesting. Like, it's
the 20th anniversary year. I can share this, I think.
Yeah.
Seems safe.
Yeah, oh, that's right, because you still have the images, eh?
Yeah, that sounds seedy, but yeah, I'll let you carry on. I'm just trying to work out how this works.
Yeah, well, it is what it is, but it's just a different world we're living in now. It's been an interesting 48 hours anyway, Benny.
Yeah, so let me just try and do this screen share. This could go very wrong. If I share my entire screen, is that dangerous? How does it work? I'm so nervous. Why is that?
What else is on your computer?
Exactly. I didn't really do Oh, is that working?
Oh yeah, that's a French magazine from 1980, isn't it?
See, boobs. French magazine, German. Boobs.
That's German. That woman, she's totally naked in that. Like that cover is totally naked, and that's 1990. That's just a bikini, but
I mean that is
the
how
covers,
they used, but I will say, like, when I got into let me just unshare that because I don't know where it's going, but like, that's when we grew up, and I don't mean this to sound seedy or anything, but like, it was more sexy, the sport, like the image of windsurfing was more sexy. Now, everyone's gonna have different opinion on this. I probably shouldn't go down this route the way the world is at the moment, but like that, if you look at kite surfing now, it's a way more sexier image. Like, good or bad, you choose whatever you think. And I think that makes guys want to do it, and it also makes women want to do it, because women don't want to be associated with a non-sexy sport. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm not a woman, but I listen to my girlfriend and what she says and what she sees, and surfing's the same. And again, there's levels of where you get to, but I still think you need a sexy image. Is that wrong? Can I say? I mean, I don't even think that's wrong, but I find myself these days always, trying to like understand what I'm saying half the time. I'm not saying we need topless women everywhere and all this, not what I'm saying. But I mean, I still think our sport has got a very dinosaur, old man ruler image. And I'm not sure that's great for bringing new people into the sport. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, sorry. No, I'm just laughing at the comments coming in. Maddie Claire, a great way to pacify the haters. Here's some topless women from 1980.
No, but I'm just like, I'm not saying that that's the way we should be going. But I know what I thought of windsurfing when I was getting into it, and I was a kid. Like, I know times have changed, but I was a kid, and I always thought, like, seeing windsurfers in amazing locations, seeing, I won't lie, hot women, I was like, wow, this is where I want to be. Like, as a man, I'm attracted to women. Like, that's natural. I'm again not saying we need to, what's the word that everyone uses now? Sexualize, like all this crazy stuff. But it's just natural, isn't it? Like, if there's, and you see it in bars, like women get to go in for free or drink for free. Windsurfing lessons, you give women free lessons, the guys will come. Naturally, that's what we were. The bars in the town where we live, the ones with the fit barmaids, they're packed. They're absolutely packed. Whether that's right or wrong, and everyone's got opinions on that, it's just a fact. We can't get away from the fact. It's not an opinion. It's a genuine fact is what happens. So, you know, Jenna de Rosnay, we've talked about getting her on the podcast. I got no contact with her, but, you know, that she was the one, you know, the Neil Pride wetsuit advert. You know, the Neil Pride wetsuit advert where it wasn't a wetsuit. I'm
laughing at all the comments. Oh, sorry. As you're talking, all the comments flooding in. So keep going. Keep going.
Yeah. No, I'm just trying to say, like, again, I'm probably gonna lose more subscribers, but I just I feel like when that Jenna de Rosnay advert with the painted on wetsuit was such a good advert, not because she was naked or whatever, but because it actually made a lot of sense. Like, the wetsuit's that good, you don't realize you have got it on, or whatever the tagline was for it. And people still talk about that advert today. That's good advertising. Whatever you think of it, it's that's it, isn't it? Like, and just to clarify, I have got a young daughter. Like, that was always the question to me whenever I've said something before, or I don't know, gone that they've gone, oh, you don't have a daughter. I do have a daughter, but she's going to live in a real world where she's going to hear truths about how it is, not like this other world that she's not really there. Like, you just look at the numbers. I would pull up a video. I'd put a picture. This is a truth from the channel. I put a picture on Instagram years ago, and there was this woman posing on like an old windsurfing board. The windsurfing board was like not a sexy image. She was trying to look all provocative, and it was just comedy for me. I was like laughing so hard when I saw it. So I asked my girlfriend, I'm like, I should put this on because it's so comedy. It's like some photographer's gone, oh yeah, we're going to get this surfboard out. We're going to make a sexy pose. But it was just so bad. And I put that on Instagram. It's probably my most liked picture to date, but it was also the one I got the most hate on. Like, people going, I can't believe you put this on. You are crazy. And I'm like, but do you not see the comedy, the irony of it? It's like an old, terrible windsurfing board. I looked at that picture. Yes, I saw a woman posing on it, which was ridiculous, but I looked at the board and I'm like, oh, that was a terrible board. You know, I'm like, as a windsurfing mindset, I was just giggling to myself thinking, Ben, you're looking at the windsurfing board. I'm like, how are you kneeling with those foot straps on there? And anyway.
Yeah, you know, the best thing about this video, Ben, I've got a lot of content of you talking now, so I can re-edit another video. It's just
oh God, yeah.
No, it's an interesting topic for sure. It's like, if you look at other sports, they do use the sex sells thing a lot, especially surfing. And I mean, the thumbnails on like the popular YouTubers, they literally whoring out their girlfriends on the thumbnails. Like they'll be like, I'm hanging out with my girlfriend, and there'll just be a picture of a girlfriend in like a G-string, like next to them, like, that kind of stuff. I mean, I'm not into all that, but it's just interesting how
I am, though.
You get attention. Yeah, but I mean, it's kind of, yeah, I hear what you're saying, but it's not. I think
I tell you what. Honestly, whatever you say, like your opinions, everyone's opinions has got their own opinions, fine. But the facts are 100%. If you have some sort of titillation in your thumbnail, it gets more views. 100%. Whether we should be selling windsurfing like that is a totally different subject. I'm just stating facts. That if you do that, you get more views. 100%. That's the fact. That's not my opinion. It's a fact. So we have to work out how we do that. And if we should be just putting old men windsurfing like me on the cover with a bald head, yeah, we're gonna do stuff like that. We're gonna do technical stuff. We're gonna do that, but we also got to come up from another side. I don't know the right angle at the moment. Again, God, I could be clipped on so many of these things I'm saying and made to sound like an absolute tosser. That's just the way it's gonna be.
No, I hear what you're saying. Yeah,
no, but also, when I grew up, I had Loaded magazine, FHM magazine, and all this, and there'd be posters on my wall when I went to work. Maybe that's just a change of times. Like, if you do that now, are you like some seedy old man? Well, probably would be now, 45. But when I was a kid, when I was a teenager, like that was normal. Now it's maybe I don't know. I don't know what's happened. And then on the other side of that, I mean, we've gone down a whole different rabbit hole now. But on the other side of that, all the women and men are complaining about this and this. And then you go on Instagram and you go on all these other things, and it's the opposite. It's in your face. You know, you've got these gym girls calling guys out for looking at them in the gym, but they're filming themselves to put it on Instagram to get hundreds of thousands of people looking at them. And you're thinking,
yeah,
how is this? How do these two things go together?
I just can't do Instagram because I go on it and it's just like, it's basically just soft porn. Well, I mean, it doesn't have to be, but I just find it a bit like, you know what I mean? It's just, yeah, it's interesting. I find it a bit much, but
I agree.
Yeah.
And again, Jeff says we need some women commenting on here. The thing is, with Windsurfing TV's YouTube channel, you look at the stats, there is 92% men and 8% women. So obviously it is a very male dominated sport, 100%. And we have some amazing women in the sport. You know, and I always promote the women. I've got no problem promoting the women. What I will say is more men send me stuff than women. So like, you know, the women or the girls that do send me stuff, I put it on, I feature it, I reshare it. But a lot of the men or the guys or the kids or whatever are the guys are sending me stuff to put on. And when you run a channel, you know, people who haven't run a channel won't know, but there is a lot of stuff that you have to deal with. So if people aren't sending you stuff and in your face, like it was in the old days when I was trying to get a front cover of a magazine or trying to get stuff in magazines, you have to hammer the editor. You have to be like, come on, what have I got to do to get front cover? What shots do you need? You know, this is how it works. And it's the same in this day and age. If you just tag me and hope I'm going to see it, it's not that easy. If you're sending me emails, if you're chatting to me saying, Ben, what do you need? Do you need anything? Can I help? You're going to be on the channel. Trust me. And this goes, if any of you are looking for sponsorship out there or any sort of help, if you make the guys that run these magazines, the guys that run the channels, the guys that run the brands, if you make their life easier, you will be employed or sponsored or whatever, because I'm looking for content. I have a few guys that send me stuff constantly, and those are the guys that get on the channel. I always used to have like the Canarian guys going, oh my God, you're always on the front cover. You're always doing this. I'm like, are you speaking to the editor? Are you asking him? Are you going to pay a photographer to get pictures to, you know, it's not like it ain't a favorite thing a lot of the time. A lot of the time is the guys that are on there are putting the work in behind the scenes, I guess.
Yeah. It's an interesting discussion because it's like you're damned if you do and damned if you don't, you know, when it comes to this sort of stuff, isn't it? Because if you just think I'm going to try to keep as many people happy as I can, then you end up back at 2,000 views and no one giving say windsurfing much attention, and but then you're like, all right, well, let's make it a bit more sexy, and then of course you're dealing with, you know, sort of a whole range of issues related to that. So
I think what you notice is, I think if let's say if you upset someone or you do something which is not in their scope, like let's say like this video, you are going to get the people that are more outraged and want to cancel it than the guys that just enjoy it. And especially with the more, you know, that maybe they don't want to come out and say they really enjoyed it. You know, maybe they don't want to say that. Maybe they don't want to like, maybe they don't want to comment. They just want to enjoy it and not say a thing, you know, because they don't want the backlash of all the other people. Whereas if they don't like it, I think it's almost cool to say you don't like something. Again, I got no problem. Opinions are opinions. That's fine. And again, I'm not saying this video is a great video. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying in general.
Yeah. And if you look at the, you know, someone mentioned about the kites. I think it was
Maddie having a wetsuit painted. Did you read that? Sorry.
Yeah, but I think Maddie Claire mentioned about, you know, if you flick through, you know, I'm mainly using YouTube, but I'm sure it's the same on Insta and other platforms. But there's a lot of kite surfing little, you know, 10-second clips of like chicks, like you know how they're like in a harness and they're getting dragged across the sand, and you're basically just looking at their butt as they get dragged across. Like, you've seen those? Like, they get millions of views and stuff.
Hannah Whiteley.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. And I mean, it's the thing.
She rips.
Yeah, so it's
absolutely rips.
Yeah, okay. And it's just, you know, it's it just brings a lot of attention to that sport, basically. And like, I'm sure a lot of people look at that. See, this is the other thing too. A lot of people look at that who may have no idea about wind sports or like water wind sports, and basically just go, I'm going kite surfing because that seems to be the thing where it's, like it's getting their attention, and
like
it's
I
interesting.
said, when we grew up with windsurfing, it was a sexy sport. Again, take of that what you will. But Hannah Whiteley, let's use her for example. I've known her since she was a kid. Know her dad. He was windsurfer, kitesurfer, whatever. But literally, her butt is on every picture. But she rips. She wins competitions. She does loads of stuff. But is everywhere. It literally is everywhere. And whatever you think, when you see that in the back of your mind, you end up with this sexier image of the sport. And I know there are some women that will be against, wearing G-string. Whatever, that's up to them. I totally get it. And they just want to be judged on how good they are at the sport. Totally get that. That's everyone's right. But it's not to say that you don't need these other girls, which again, men, no one wants to see me with my titties out and my big belly banging around. But there are handsome, young, chiseled, young kids with six packs who girls go, wow, there's loads of half naked men in this sport. This is
well,
great.
it goes both ways for sure. I mean, even those old mags, even though we were talking about women on the cover, I seem to remember, they were definitely exploiting all the windsurfer guys as well, because all the, Robbie and what's that French guy that's Hellman? What's his name?
Which one? There's friggin' loads.
Oh, yeah, no, but he's not so much around these days. Yeah. Like he was, he was a bit of like a male model type of guy, wasn't he? And then, and there's plenty of them. They were kind of, they would be showing him topless, and like it kind of went both ways. I'm sure the women liked it, and vice versa. It's just
there's a few people saying, "Let it all out, Ben. Let it all out." No, it's true. There's actually quite a lot of like angst here, because I think, and I see this on the PWA. I think some people don't know what. Again, like let's bring it back to the PWA. Like, I don't think the riders know what they want. Like, I've said this for a long time. I think you need, in a sport like that, some sort of dictator which has the vision and sets it in place, and you basically listen to him. Because when it's a democracy, it gets very, very stale and boring. Like, it really ends up going one way, because they think that the top guys know what they want, and they have that. And I think in windsurfing, the most vocal people about the sport and how it should be are not always the ones you should listen to. So I'm not saying you should listen to me, but like, it doesn't always mean you know the right way to go and what's good for the sport to get more people into it. Like, again, I look at kite surfing, look at windsurfing. If you just judge those two off the top of your head, which one's the more sexy sport? Which one do you want to be associated with from the outside, from young guys, young girls coming in? I tell you, it'll be kite surfing. It's not. I mean, it's not. And I've got nothing against kite surfers. I can kite surf. A lot of friends are kite surfers. I'm not totally against them, but like, from the outside looking in, it looks way cooler, and that is a lot to do with the people in and around it and all that. We are becoming an older generation of sport, and if we're going to change that, I'm not saying we're going to change that, but if windsurfers and windsurfing want to change it, we do have to look at ourselves and think, right, how are we selling this? Why is it like that? What are the reasons? Again, I'm not saying I have the answers, but I don't know.
Yeah, it would have actually been good. Obviously, this discussion has, led us here, but it would be cool to hear some female perspectives on this too, because.
Agreed.
I mean, I'm kind of assuming what they're probably going to say. I can't imagine they're probably majorly different to what we're saying, but it would be cool. Can you phone a friend in or not? Do you know anyone?
Yeah, exactly. But I think even just us having this conversation, whatever, some people can have opinions on it. I don't think we're saying anything crazy. We're just stating facts, and they are facts.
Yeah.
I've got my own opinions, which are also separate to the facts, but there are certain facts which you cannot get away from. No matter how much you argue them, you can argue whatever you want, but it's not the case. It's facts. Sex does sell. That thumbnail probably says it all, and it's just a pair of boobs in a bra. I mean, there's nothing else going on there. There's no There's nothing to me. I mean, there's nothing. But obviously, some people are even offended by that because I used it to get people to click on the video, and I think that's what people have a problem with. The problem is when you've got a 90% audience, blokes will click on a video with a pair of boobs on it. That's just the fact. Like, whether you want to or not, you're like, no, I'm not clicking on that. And then you see it again, you're like, I'm definitely not going to click on that. And you're like, go on then. I don't know. Maybe I'm just speaking for my own self.
Yeah. No, it's interesting. It's interesting. And also, we're looking at, over the last 48 hours when we've been discussing all this, I was looking at some of the modern windsurf, like the covers of magazines, and it's very much related to quite extreme images. You know what I mean? Like someone doing a huge double or riding jaws and all that sort of stuff, which is super impressive. But then you compare it to the old covers where it's basically just guys and girls having fun, just like with a big smile on their face, just cruising around in a bikini. And now so I'm also wondering whether or not, if that's wise or not. Like, what do you think? Like, what are you more drawn to? A picture of, say, a woman or man, for that matter, windsurfing that looks kind of like having fun and a bit attractive, or someone bottom turning at jaws? Like, what's going to, I don't know.
Totally agreed. If I look at my content on YouTube and what stuff does well, if I really want to just monetize the hell out of YouTube and do better, I should do more entry level, fun, nice stuff. The freestyle-y, crazy moves, the wave stuff, it always gets way less views. I just know my target audience is where I grew the channel from. Like, the core audience was quite a high level, didn't mind a bit of a laugh. Like some of my early training diaries, there was some funny stuff in those, which was, people falling out the window and whatever. Like, this is where the core of that channel came from. And I always get scared of going away from that because that's how it is. And it's how I am. I like to be a bit like take the mickey. Like, I take the mickey out of myself. This is also true. Like, people say, oh, trust me, I am like the biggest piss taker out of myself. I don't take myself too seriously at all. I feel I've got some valid points, but so does everyone. But, like, I don't think you should take yourself too seriously. Windsurfing shouldn't be too serious. That is almost the reason, it is the reason why Send It Sunday has been Send It Sunday, because I was looking around going, man, we take ourselves way too seriously. Man, everything is like boring. And I know when I go to the beach, when we were in Australia, you go for a sail, you might finish up, have a beer, have a chat, have a laugh about what you crashed, what did, as long as no one's been hurt. And I'm 100% sure of that. Like, I always make sure everyone's okay. And I say it in the videos, don't take these crashing in shallow water lightly. You can hurt yourself. You have to be careful. But if you can't have a laugh of someone falling over, like I grew up Jackass era, early snowboard videos, skate videos. This was the culture I grew up in. It's probably not the culture now, but I still think a lot of the viewers resonate as well with it. Or maybe they don't. Maybe they just watch it because put it on there.
And I think that's also the issue right now. That the generation coming up now, it's almost confusing to know what works, because we're going through. Things that were funny and acceptable when only 20 years ago is almost like cancelled now or something. Well, sometimes it's like, so you kind of sitting there going, I don't know, that's I find that a little bit tricky too. It's changing generations.
Yeah, 100%. And again, like I say, everyone's got their own opinions. Going to keep banging on this because I don't want anyone to take it the wrong way. And people are doing it differently. But in the world we live in, there are still better looking people than others. I am not one of the male models of the windsurfing scene, but I'm not stupid enough to think that I should be. Like, I think there are in world things, better looking men, better looking women than others. And if they want to use that as like a modeling career, because if they rip in sport, there's nothing more sexy than than someone who is, a good looking, to my eyes, attractive. Everyone's got their own different opinions on attractiveness, but to my eyes, and then rips at a sport. That is like, oh my God, I'm done. That's I love that. Again, not everyone's the same, but I think that is where you get some girls that get a bit upset that other girls who are better looking are getting better sponsorship. But to me, they're doing two things. They're doing a modeling career, which is a well-paid job in other things, and they're a solid sailor at the same time. You know, yes, you've got to give respect to the rippers for sure. But if someone wants to do a bit of a modeling career because they save the brands thousands, if you're a windsurfer or a surfer or a kiter and you can do a bit of modeling on the side, which saves the brand having to hire, which they will do, hire non-windsurfers and non-surfers to model clothes, that for me is way worse. Like, why should we be paying other people who don't even do the sport to model stuff, which has happened in the past, which I think is crazy, you know? Again, everyone's got different opinions on that. I'm not saying that's how it should work, but especially clothing brands, you have to have certain figures and certain things to make the clothing look right, I guess. I've never worked for a clothing brand, but I would rather them hire windsurfers, kite surfers, surfers, whoever's in that sport to promote it than actual just models who don't do any sport.
Yeah, look, it's I think as long as there's humans, this issue will never really go away. At the end of the day, sex sells. You know,
yeah.
it's the main, isn't it the main core of advertising? Sex, it's just, and so the question is how far. What's that?
It's a fact. Like I said, it's not an opinion. It's a fact. Whether you like it or not is totally different. But it's a fact. Like, it's a fact.
Yeah, I think the thing is, I think the point is that with this video stirred up a bit of few people because obviously it was pretty extreme in some area. Like it was just obviously a completely ridiculous video, and it's not certainly not something that's going to be the norm. But I think there's a point where you can go to and go, oh, that's kind of acceptable, and you know, not going to cause too many problems. But right now, we've kind of gone. The pendulum has swung into an area where it's pretty unsexy in a way. Like, you know, there's no real. A lot of the images are mainly, it's sort of gone away from what made windsurfing really popular back in the day. And I guess, you know, you want to look back at those days and take what you can and go, what worked? Like, what was it that made windsurfing so popular? They weren't really worried too much about, you know, extreme performance. They were more just looking at the fun, social, and just another way to meet some new people that will seem to be having fun.
I totally believe that. As I said to you the other day, it's like it's the community side of it, and that's I think that's lacking actually here in Portugal. We haven't got that many windsurfers, and I'm at the moment coming up ways to think. You know, I haven't put any into action yet of how to create that windsurfing community here, because it's not as fun without it. Like the most fun places I go to is when the community is a really strong one and you're hanging out with outside windsurfing, in windsurfing, and you look forward to meeting everyone and you're not that worried about the conditions so much. You're actually, you've got an eye on them, but the fun bit is meeting up. And when we used to do events back in the day, the fun bit was meeting everyone, seeing everyone I hadn't seen. And you know, the competing was one side of it. But the other side was just the social aspect and whole that just gives that the next level. I think these solo sports, I don't believe that's not the way to grow. That's not the way to grow. You know, I genuinely believe the death, or not the death, but the way windsurfing went down was when people stopped going to sailing clubs. Now that might sound weird, but a sailing club when I was growing up was this meeting place. We would go every weekend. Everyone would go. You wouldn't look at the weather, and you would have this place where you could hang out socially with people who were into the same things as you. And I think soon as we started go wave sailing, whatever, and forecasts started being more accurate, then everyone's not going to the coast on the hope that it's going to be windy. Because back in the day, you'd literally go, I think it's going to be all right. And you'd go and you go, oh, it's not. And then you just hang out anyway.
Well, I'm sure there's a lot of truth in that. But what about just the fact that it went from longboards to shortboards? I think that was.
Well, the condition range got smaller. So you spend a lot more time sitting around, and then people didn't go.
Yeah. And the other thing too is, like, a lot of people, men and women for that matter, who aren't that into windsurfing, like say they might think, oh yeah, it'd be cool to maybe go down to the beach and have some fun and jump on a board for half an hour. They're not necessarily wanting to be sitting on the beach in 30 knots. You know, like with a longboard back in the day, they could literally sit there in 5 knots of wind and have a barbecue on the beach and still go windsurfing. Whereas, now obviously we're all wanting 20 knots kind of thing. So that I think that like for me, when I think of I think surfing is a good example, 30, like in the 90s, it was all shortboards and like everyone was like, it was all about performance and stuff. And then surfing went more retro, longboards came back, longer boards. And like, that's just a huge part of surfing now, isn't it? It's just like the longboards and mals and all that sort of stuff. And for me, our original windsurfers are surfing's longboard, but we don't promote it. It's like, there'd be a lot of people out there that would have no interest in getting into a shortboard, but might have an interest in getting onto, say, an original style windsurfer or something. If there was some club or like some things. Yeah.
I think when it first came out, it was just kind of like a cheap way to go sailing. You didn't need a trailer. You stuck it on the roof of your car and you could go sailing. It wasn't about planing and all that stuff. Again, times have changed. Lots of things have come out, but now I feel it's so technical, like with the foils, and even who's someone who's into everything, I need to, go dive into the foiling to understand totally where we're at, because I don't even know. If I went to a shop and, or maybe I do now, but there's a few people out there who definitely wouldn't know what to get, what to buy. And there's just so much going on. And I think that is a problem, is definitely a problem. I just got to give a shout out. Peter, this guy has just chipped in some beer money. Good lad.
There you go.
You not total. We got one back.
It'd be interesting to see where it goes from here. I know I'm in Geraldton, and the local windsurfing club here has made a pretty big effort, and not just from Geraldton, but in like Western Australia, to get a lot of kids involved, and actually not just kids, adults as well. And a lot of it is they're just coming back onto the the easygoing boards, obviously, and just trying to get back to that grassroots again. And there's quite a few. I'm surprised. Like last time they had a youth event here, and there was about 40 kids that showed up. That's pretty amazing.
I can honestly say I've always been really disappointed with Australia in terms of like Geraldton, Coronation Beach. For me, it is the place. If if anything, they should be putting money into that. So when I saw they put up the containers and they've got some, rigging areas, this is a massive step forward, because if you have kit on the beach where you just have to get to the beach and the gear's there, and you can go out, that will 100% get people into it. You've got Jager Stone helping to promote it in the local area. You've got good windsurfers. You've got great conditions. Half the Aussies or 90% of the offers go fishing. And you're like, and how many could be windsurfers? They really could be.
The other thing too is Anton. Anton? Yeah, Anton?
Of course.
Anton. From when you're in Geraldton. So when he's got it's his parents, so I can't remember which one of them's got it, but they basically have like this it's like a longboard style of windsurfer, but it's more like a suppy thing with a mast, like a screw-in mast base thing in it. And we went down to this spot a few months ago expecting it to be windy, but the wind didn't quite come in. And there was like these little sort of waist-high waves there. So we just got the big board, like this big long thing out, and just screwed our wave sail into it. And I honestly had more fun on that board than when the wind actually came up, because you can literally, on that board, you can uphaul it. So you don't have to worry about water starting. That's already a big deal. And it was literally like 5 to 10 knots of wind, and you could like literally catch waves on it and ride it like a mal kind of thing. I mean, it's a bit trickier because you're holding a sail, but you work it out. And if you fall in, like, because normally on a shortboard, when you fall in, you're like, you need the wind or whatever. If it's hard to uphaul unless you've got the skills. But on this board, you just go. It just doesn't matter if you fall in, because you can always uphaul. Like there's just no. It felt like there was zero risk. Like, so you basically, And I remember just thinking, God, if more people could actually just experience like just being out here in these little tiny waves, but you could catch them, and then you just do a slow jibe off the wave and just putt back out. You don't even have to paddle. Paddling can be a bit painful.
Yeah.
And then you're out there. I was out there with Anton, and we're just laughing and having a good time. It was cool. And the other cool thing is when there's not much wind, there's not much chop, so the water's really quite smooth, and you can see the bottom. Like you're standing up, looking down, and it's I honestly, yeah. Anyway,
I was going to say it's a great point, and that's what it was. That was, you'd go down as a group to the beach, or like anything, right? It's the network effect. As soon as you've got a few of you having a laugh, and then maybe, let's say, Antoine's girlfriend joins. She wants to learn to windsurf. She has a good laugh. She tells her friends, "Oh, I had a great." This is what builds these groups. And then they're like, "Oh, where are you lot going?" "Oh, we're going to the beach." "Oh, can I come?" This is how these groups grow. You saw it in Pozo with the youths. You've got to start somewhere, but you need, and as I said it last week about the WhatsApp groups, these WhatsApp group leaders. Actually, no, I wasn't talking to you. I was talking to Das Spiegel. I did an interview this week, but I feel like the WhatsApp group guys, the ones that are pushing, the ones that are motivating people, are really key people now. These are what makes things happen. Those little extra bits of, come on, let's do it. Come on, they grab people and they make it happen. But the biggest problem for windsurfing is, and if we could change it, it would be amazing, if we could have windsurfing gear available on the beach. Because for most people who are not into windsurfing, to transport it, to carry it down the beach, this is the biggest put off ever. Like, if you can come to the beach and the gear's there, you can have a laugh, you can come in, you can stick it, 20 meters from the beach in a container and go home or hang out, have a barbie. These are good days. These are fun days. You don't need wind to have fun, but you need people. You need, the windsurfing. I think now we've got to a certain level where we're just looking for conditions. We're just looking for conditions. And when it is good conditions, if anyone comes to the beach with you, they're like, did you have a good time? Reading the book. Like, no, I didn't have a good time. I'm not coming back. Enjoy it next time. How are we going to build like a group? You need to be going. If every windsurfer in the world taught 2 people, we'd be doing crazy well. It really is that simple.
Yeah. Well, I know. I was going to say this. I was going to say the same thing. Like, for everyone out there, if you have the gear that you can help someone with, I think that's the other key, is that you kind of need to go out there and just try and maybe teach someone. Isn't it? Like, like Anton's teaching his girlfriend, and she's actually getting into it. And I've noticed a few guys here teaching their girlfriends, and, just having someone, to teach you. That's a huge thing too.
Huge. I always said it. No, it's gone.
Oh, no, that's about. I'm actually just reading a comment here from Elin. I know Elin. There's a female windsurfer from Norway. I'm just reading the comment. So I would just say that I don't have a problem with the so-called objectifying of women in the Send It video. It was all just fun.
Exactly. It was
Thank
fun.
you, Elin.
It wasn't being seedy. It was like I know I'm pretty good. I know there's a difference between total seedy and fun. Like, just because there is boobs doesn't mean it's like there can be a fun aspect. Like, there was half naked men lots of times in the videos. I'm not going to keep going on about that. But what I tell you what, another interesting point is, I remember when inflatable SUPs came out, and I got this wrong. I was like, supping, that's rubbish, load of bullshit, blah, blah, blah. It turns out I was totally wrong. And what I should have been saying, which I changed my tune pretty soon, is all windsurfing brands that sold the SUPs should have been mandatory that they put an attachment for a sail in there. Because once you've got one of those inflatable SUPs, it's in your van. It is a ready-made tool to have fun, to do. You could stick a wing on it. You could stick a sail on it. You can have a dagger board like strap around it. And you can teach people to a point where then they actually windsurf. And that.
Well, it's a good point, because people are talking about the affordability. And I mean, you can get blow-up SUPs now pretty cheap, can't you?
Yeah. I think what you need is the strap to be able to attach a sail, because that is the difference between the old days. The old days, I think, when windsurfing was massive, the board that you had on the roof that you used, you could teach windsurfing on. That's massive. Like if I get asked now, I'm lucky because I've actually got one now from Simmer, which Film has been learning on a couple of summers ago and really enjoyed it. She just didn't enjoy the carrying the board and that sort of stuff, but the actual windsurf, she was loving it. But that's been the difference, and that is the difference maker. Like you just haven't got the gear. You asked me, could I teach you windsurfing? I'm like, I haven't really got a board I can teach you on. So then you're instantly buggered. Whereas if you've got, like, in the end, I've got a load of SUPs now, like inflatable ones, because I think they're really useful. No wind days, you can have a paddle around. If there's a little bit of breeze, people can have a little windsurf on, stick a wave sail on, stick something on it. And it's a fun tool just to get people playing around. And I think that's the start of windsurfing is doing that. Obviously, we need to keep the higher end stuff going. You don't want to neglect that. You want to give them the content. You want to give them the gear. But I do feel we're plateauing in the high-end levels of gear right now. Like slalom boards, are they going to change much? Have they changed much in the last 5 years? Foil equipment obviously is changing. Foils are changing. That's the newest thing. Wave boards, my fly wave is epic. And it's been the same for a few years. It doesn't, like surfing, they're not really changing that much. There's a lot of good stuff. And we need to concentrate now on how to get more people in, because I believe this year will be hard to sell gear. There's a lot of people having, stuff going on, talking about recession, talking about this. There's a lot of stock now, which there wasn't after, so I think we've got to change angles, and to sell more windsurfing gear, you need more windsurfers. That's just how it is. Can't keep relying on the same guys.
I was thinking about this the other day, which is kind of related to what we're talking about, especially on the marketing of windsurfing. But one huge advantage I think that windsurfing has, apart from the fact that I particularly love the sport, and I think it's, the best wind sport basically, but is actually just the name, the branding. Because windsurfing was the first wind sport, it was able to use the name windsurfing. Like kite surfing is describing the engine, the kite surfing. So if windsurfing came later, they might have called windsurfing sail surfing or something. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's like we're lucky that we're actually able to use the word windsurfing, because winging, kiting, and windsurfing is all technically windsurfing. Like they're all using the wind.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know it's kind of maybe a bit of a silly point, but windsurfing for me is the best brand out of all of them. Like just the word windsurfing is like, it sounds better saying windsurfing than kite surfing, because wind sounds better than, like, you hear what I'm saying?
No, I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Like it's more of a, it's just, for me, it's actually it's like windsurfing had first mover advantage, and so I was able to use that name, and so it's something that you could sort of capitalize on too. The branding of it, it's just another element that I don't know. I just started thinking about that the other day.
Yeah, comment here from Jonathan Bates, who, if you've been watching the channel, Oscar is absolute ripper, 6 years old or 5 years old, whatever he is now. He's been ripping, and just saying he learned on an inflatable SUP with the iRig. Yeah. And I think that inflatable rig is really important as well, because it's so light. And I was speaking to Jonathan as well in Cape Town. He was saying Oscar doesn't want to get off it because it's so light and so fun that, he's struggling almost to go on the big rig. He's going to transfer, but you think to yourself, if they put more effort into that side of it, the inflatable rig, it is amazing. If you can attach an inflatable rig to a SUP, which an inflatable rig should even be even easier, some sort of strap on. I say that, don't cut that word out. That goes around a SUP. That's going to be like that for me is where we should be looking. Like there's so many people out there with SUPs now. Yeah. So that's the hardest thing, getting someone the board. So now we just need to flog the sail with no profit at all. The sail should be sold at zero profit, because the more people with a sail, and they've already got the SUP, will be getting into windsurfing. So it should be almost like a loss leader, where we're trying to, we're selling those sails in supermarkets, because they've been selling the SUPs in supermarkets. So now we just give them the tools to be able to put a sail on a SUP. So it should be an inflatable sail with some sort of strap.
No, you're dead right. I mean, like, I don't have like I don't speak to the industry, so to speak, but you do. So like when you talk to the big brands who create these products, is this something that they talk about? Are they, as far as getting, more people, for subs and sales and things, or?
Yeah, I mean, I think people do, but I think it has to be a massive push. And it's very hard to organize because you need everyone on the same page. Like, I think all the brands should get together and it should be a collaboration of everyone trying to make the cheapest sale that we can literally give away to suppers. Like, it should be all brands. They should all have a push to do it because it can only benefit windsurfing. If you're a windsurfing brand, you will benefit in the end. Like, but it's a longer term picture. It obviously takes a while for that to ripple down, but there has to be this sort of innovations. Matt is saying great idea, strap-ons in supermarkets. Yes, I know this is oh god.
No, I think the idea with the subs, with the sales, is definitely a good one because it's just another accessory that they can sell, because you buy a sub and then you could buy a sail as an accessory, and it's just you either paddle the thing or you sail it. Like you could have both. It's
I totally agree. Actually, just going back to that sale, Jonathan Bates saying I think they could make solid handles like the new kites and could use a harness too. Also, I'm not sure they could develop better inflatable rigs for beginners. I totally agree. I think we should double down on that inflatable rig thing because I really think it is. It gets rid of that little bit of barrier to entry. Nothing worse than carrying a massive boom, a couple of bits of mast, an extension. If you could just take a pump like a kite and you could go out in light winds and have to play around you.
Mate, I think you've cracked it, Ben. You've cracked it, I think. You've cracked, because sorry, sort of butt in, but like, sorry, I'll let you finish, mate. I was getting excited with you.
It's fine. All I was going to say is the good thing is if you're having a play around, like, and you said you're out there on the SUP the other day, and let's say you've got a few, let's say ladies on your SUP, you're trying to get them into windsurfing because it is a male-dominated sport. So you're trying to get a few of the girls to hang out. If you've got a normal rig and you catapult and you squash their leg in between the mast and the sail, like it happens, or you get hit on the head with the mast, it puts you off. If you've got an inflatable thing, it's like a laugh. It doesn't hurt. That was just a little thing.
Yeah, and like because in Australia, I don't know what it's like overseas, probably similar, I'm sure, a lot of countries, but you can go into like one of the big camping stores here and buy a pretty good quality blow-up SUP for like $200, or like $300 kind of thing. So like,
they're not
if
great,
you had one of the
could do.
They're good enough. Like they're pretty. I'm surprised how good they are for the money. Like they're actually like you can paddle them around, no worries. And I mean, if you had like those, like the blow up sail thing that you're talking about, geez, I'm sure those factories that make those subs could probably make those things for cheaper than you'd imagine. I imagine. Like,
totally.
I just said imagine twice, but. Like a blow-up, so I mean, you might be able to make a package of a blow-up board and a blow-up sail, and it might end up costing, like $300-400 or something like that, or $500. That kind of money.
Yeah.
Which is obviously, and all of a sudden it's like families can go, oh yeah, I could potentially afford that. Whereas at the moment, it's literally a few $1,000s at a minimum.
Well, look at it, right? If you look at it as in winging, which I think winging is definitely gonna. People who live in a place where they haven't got conditions, they want to get on the water, you'd experience that. You're going to go winging for sure because it gives you more water time. But when you're getting into it, a foil sticking out, it's quite dangerous and, whatever else. But the joy about the winging is the inflatable wing. So if you can do that, which they already do for windsurfing, but make it better, and again, stick it on the SUP, it's like a cheap form of sailing for those fun light wind days at the lake or at the beach or whatever. And it's I just think it's way better. And you could probably stick it in the boot of your car in 2 little bags, just with a pump.
Yeah. And Maddie, I can see that people can't see it who are not looking at the comments. Oh yeah, so Maddie's saying you need a dagger board attachment for sure, but obviously
but they've got that
could be worked on.
I'm pretty sure
that's true. They just slide in. Yeah,
duotone sell like a strap-on, which has like 2 fins on it.
There's a comment. There's a comment here. There's a comment here from Stefan. He's saying that the boob video has now got 564,000 views.
It's going to be
how many
video. Oh.
How many views was on it when we started this video?
561.
All right, so it's gone another 3,000 in an hour and a half or whatever it is.
Which weirdly seems like nothing, but on a normal video, that would be amazing.
It's not bad. It'd be really good. I know, that's right. No, it'll be interesting to see how high that one goes. But no, it's super cool that you brought that up with the blow up sale, because the cost is one. There's quite a few issues with windsurfing why people aren't doing it, but cost is definitely one of the pieces in the puzzle. And a blow up sub and a blow up little sale, if you could get it manufactured and it was retailing for $400-500, they could probably end up selling him an Aldi or something.
But it's true. Like I said, the main thing is, which I like, is a lot of people already have subs now. Like over COVID and all this, people bought a lot of subs. They sold out everywhere. People were struggling to sell them. COVID happened. They sold out everything. You couldn't get enough subs. So there's a lot of subs in the world, which to me, if you're a supper, you are a windsurfer. You don't know it yet, but windsurfing is way cooler than supping, and the levels that you can go to are just amazing. Like, I got told this analogy once, which is pretty fun. Like, just imagine there's a time, right? Windsurfing has not been invented. You're on the sup, you're supping around on this canal, lake, or wherever you are, and then this guy comes flying past you with a sup with a sail on it, and you're there going, oh my God, I want to do that. Because there is no way you wouldn't want to do it. There is no way you would think, oh no, this is way cooler with his paddle. You see some guy going, I don't know how many times the speed of you with little effort flying around. I wanted to make that video like have like a maybe you can help me. The bit where it goes doo-doo-doo-doo, 30 years ago, imagine there was a time, and you're supping around, and then boom, and you should do it at that lake in Australia where it looks like there's no wind.
The thing with supping though is, like, it's also different crowds in supping, isn't it? Because there's quite a few people that do it for the exercise and like paddling and all that sort of stuff. But I hear what you're saying. Yeah, no,
not you don't need to get rid of the sup. You know what I mean? It's like it's just, I feel if you're into supping, you could easily be into windsurfing because you enjoy the water, you enjoy keeping fit, you enjoy all those things, but it's just like an add-on to what, instead of having another paddle, having a faster paddle or whatever, it's just an extra tool. Yeah.
I can see Nico Prian has joined the chat, and he's someone who knows how to get a lot of views on a video.
Okay, Nico. So Nico's just tuned in. For anyone watching audio only, I'm sorry if some of this was been visual, but we're just going to show Nico the analytics. Now, sit down because you're going to be very jealous. Ooh, big one.
This apartment. Oh, there we go. What's it up to?
60p. 60p. I mean, like I said, I'm pretty sure a bot has been involved because most of the views are from India, or it's got on some weird website or something, because obviously no one's watching the video. They're not watching the whole video going, oh my God, this is amazing content. No. It's just getting on it, getting off it pretty much. So it's very weird, very suspicious. I don't really
Nico's he's missed the start of this video, and basically what's happened, Nico, is because the video you have to be 18 plus to view the video, and I think what do you call it, YouTube doesn't allow, well, companies don't advertise on videos that are 18 plus because they don't want to be associated with, contentious content. And the other aspect to this video is it actually has little sound grabs from songs, like, that Gold song that's, anyway, there's a few songs in there, sound grabs. And as soon as you have some music in a video, you lose often any rights to make money on it as well. So it's a double whammy. It's 18 plus, Plus, it's got some bits of music in there too. So
Well,
that's why.
When I was like putting the video online, it's like it asks you questions before you monetize it. So it's like, is there any guns in the video? And I'm like, well, the opening scene is Arnold Schwarzenegger blowing some kid away. So I was like, yes, whatever it was.
Yeah,
and then it's like, is there any whatever sexually? And I'm thinking, well, it's a guy in a bath. Yes. So then it was
thinking, yes.
And then in the end, it's like YouTube have okayed the video, but you're not going to get any money. And you're thinking, well, hang on, somehow you guys are making money off it. Like YouTube are making money. Where's it going to?
That's it.
We're not getting it.
And that's the thing with YouTube, isn't it? Google, I mean, they're a money-making machine because they'll jump up and down and say, oh, this is not good content, but there's still ads running and they're making money either way.
Yeah.
So it is what it is.
I will say, when we did start this podcast, I had a few trivia questions that don't seem, when we've been going quite a while now anyway, but we are going to do, just for anyone who's still tuned in, we're going to be trying to do the big windsurfing quiz. It might change the name. There's Paul's been working on a few things, but it will be happening at some point. So I thought in this podcast, maybe we could start a little bit of trivia because I follow a couple of football things. They do a bit of a quiz and I love it every week. So I thought it could be a cool way to. So maybe I'm going to ask you a couple of questions, Mr. Van Bellen.
Okay. What about the people watching this? Can they join in or?
You can join in. Anyone watching can join in. I didn't do much digging. It was a last minute thing before I came on. I thought, maybe I'll just write a few questions down.
Okay.
And I've already lost it.
All right. So this is an idea that, it's gone. This is an idea that you're wanting to, test the waters with, right? And maybe start making a few.
I think we should. I think that there should be a weekly quiz somehow, or if not a weekly one, like some monthly way to test your windsurfing trivia. I think it could be pretty cool. Although I will say I've seemed to have lost my quiz. Oh yeah. Okay. So we're just going to start randomly. So it's going to be easy one. I would say this is easy for me. What year did Francisco Goya win his Wave World title?
Francisco Goya. Gosh.
Don't cheat on the comments. You're going to look at the comments, aren't you? I know.
No, I'm actually not. But the problem is it's pretty hazy, the number, years and all that. So I'm going to say Francisco Goya. Did you say the first one?
Well, he's only won one. He basically, just to give you an idea, the background, he basically trained like a madman, got Scott Sanchez, MP, whatever training, and he just went crazy. I remember seeing the video. There was a famous video around this time, which was quite interesting. And he basically went out of Francisco Goya mode, which was more relaxed, doing his whole thing, into serious training. He would go out on bigger sails, so train overpowered. He would go underpowered. He would be doing heats. He trained in Pozo early, and he won his world title, and then he retired. So there's a couple of people coming in. We've got Rasmus saying 2000. We've got Sammy V saying 2001. Yasmin saying 93. Matty Claire saying 98. We got Stefan saying 2021. We're talking about Francisco Goya now.
Yeah, no, I think 2021 is out of the picture. I mean, the problem is I remember Francisco Goya in the 90s, like watching him in videos in the 90s. So I'm sort of thinking, was he already a world champ back then? Okay, I don't know, but I'll take a guess. I'm going to say 2000.
Oh, yes, correct.
Is it?
2000, yeah, 2000.
Okay.
2000. He won his world title and then basically retired.
Wow. Okay.
So that was quite. I thought it was quite interesting for a bonus point or two. What equipment was he on?
What brands?
Yeah, what brands? Sail and board.
Was it Fanatic board?
correct.
Uh,
For 1 point,
Phonetic.
what's sail brand?
I'm trying to picture.
I'll give you a little hand. If anyone's watching on YouTube, there's a hand coming up now. There you go. Is that helpful? Willie Blau.
See the picture.
Willie Blau was the sail designer. He was actually living in Australia.
Well,
or maybe he's
Gastro. Was he on Gastro?
Nope.
Well, Willie Blau was also, he did Gastro for a while, didn't he?
Yeah.
No, it wasn't Gastro. It was what was it? Was it Pride?
No, it was actually. We got someone right in the question in the comments at the moment.
Oh, Goya. It was Goya, was it?
No, it was
Arrows.
Fanatic and Arrows. Yes,
that's right, Arrows. I knew it was a bit weird. I remember, like, I sort of have a rough picture of the sail, but I just remember it was something a bit different. Yeah. Okay. Oh well,
actually,
got the board right.
Where are we going? I was better put that on. Take the boobies off the thing. So yeah, there we go. This is the thing I couldn't actually find out, which I need to ring Goya and tell him, because when this was going to lead on to the next question, which was when was Goya as the brand name officially launched?
Started.
When did it start? I don't know the answer to this because I couldn't find it on their website, and I thought that's a bit disappointing. I can have a rough guess, but it would be interesting to know. Maybe someone out there knows, but because that was the interesting one, and we haven't seen it. So, just as a backstory here, obviously Francisco Goya, for some of the young guys out there who don't know, had his own model within Fanatic. So he had the Fanatic Goya, which is if you're looking at the screen right now, you'll see it had the sun on it. It was the board you wanted if you were a wave sailor in around 2000. Yeah. It was like the board to have. And because it was so successful, I feel that he then branched away and started his own board brand using that. And since that day, I could be wrong, but I don't think many brands have kind of give many signature models away. You know, like before we had, Bjorn Dunkerbeck, who had actually I could use that as a question, but Bjorn Dunkerbeck had a signature range of sails, Josh Stone, Jason Pollock, where they got a percentage of sales and stuff like this, obviously back in the day. But you didn't see many of that going forward. And I wondered if that had an impact on it.
Interesting. So is the question, when did Goya start? Are we still going with that, or you don't have the answer though?
I think it was about 2005, but I could be wrong. It's got to be around there, 2006, 2005. I'd be interested if anyone knows.
Yeah, I was going to say something like around then, I guess, but I don't know. So maybe someone here knows. That's the other thing. Yes. Sorry, go.
No, just saying. He said it says here, Francisco is originally from Argentina. He was with Fanatic from 1999 until 2004. So it was probably around 2006, 2007, then maybe, because he left, then he set up the brand, and then he launched it. So it could be 6, maybe, I'm guessing.
So Mr. C. Huth says Goya website says with 25 years of experience building boards. But yeah, that doesn't necessarily mean the brand was born, does it? They just had experience for 25 years building boards. But
and when did they write that? Was it this year? If it was, yeah,
I'm not sure. That's what the Goya website says, according to him.
Yeah.
That's
interesting. That seems too long.
Interesting. 2006-07 is an answer from Rasmus.
Well, he's been pretty good so far. I would.
That sounds about right. I mean, it seems to be a kind of memory when they started showing up.
Yeah. So the 25 years must be from the Quattro days, because that's where they're gauging it from, and that's a little bit different.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what's interesting. Obviously, my sponsor's Simmer, and what I learned today from just looking through the websites, it's really cool to have the backstory. So. You know, the backstory on the Simmer page for Simmer is really interesting. Like, it's really well wrote out. On the Neil Pride page, they've also got something similar. But I tell you what, I think other brands could have a look at the Simmer page, because it's really It's really interesting. Like the full story. I don't know. Anyone who's watching can see. Just I'll give you a bit of an idea. But it basically shows how it was all invented, and it's basically a full piece, which is like it's super. Well, it was interesting for me reading through it.
Yeah, I'll have a look at that. Yeah, I've never actually bothered to look at the at that part of the website, even Simmer website, for a long time. So that's cool.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. And then okay, so we're going to go on to let's go on to this one. So there's a classic picture coming up. So when was Neil Pride? When did they change? Well, when did they introduce windsurfing into? Because obviously Neil Pride started off as a sail brand. When did it start doing windsurfing sails?
From yachts?
Yeah, from yachts to windsurfing sails.
Okay, well, I'm trying to think of my earliest memory of seeing a Neil Pride sail.
I'll give you a clue, not a clue, but they started the actual sail brand in 1970. So when did they start making windsurfing sails?
Good question. Good. These are good questions, Benny.
I mean, this one's not an easy one. It's more like a guesswork and a bit, but it's kind of interesting trivia, I guess.
It's actually like it's a good idea, this trivia, because we're going to learn a lot.
Yeah,
it's cool. Because like when I see I sometimes see those really early videos. It's Diamond Head and Keeper and stuff, and I don't seem to remember a lot of Neil Pride. Like I'm talking like early in the 70s, and even I can't seem to remember him in the early 80s too much. I mean, Simmer was there, and I think Ezzy and these sorts of brands, but I was going to take a guess. I got zero idea. I'm going to say 83.
83. Is that your final answer?
I've got no idea. But I'll go with that.
Okay, let me just put this because there's a great picture. Check this for Neil Pride. For anyone who watching audio only, I apologize, but if you were into windsurfing in the early days, this picture for me brought back lots of memories. I think it's like a classic. Not that picture. This picture. Look at that.
Oh, okay, yeah, cool.
That's was awesome. Me. I was getting into windsurfing when I was a kid. And I was watching those colors, that type of pastels, and I always remember Ocean Pacific. I don't know why, but Neil Pride sails. I always wanted these sails, and that was it. So, just to go to the question, let's have a look at the comments.
Cool colors.
Yeah, it's epic. That is. So, Jeff Houtman says 1980. We got Peter Olson saying 1984. Neil Pride Facebook says early 80s, but what is the official date? You've got a little bit longer left. It is, let me have a look on the website. It's not so easy to navigate actually, but on the website it says 1982. Neil Pride's brand is established. Seeing the business opportunities in windsurfing, Neil Pride decided to focus building its own windsurfing brand. 1982.
Cool. Look at those images. God, it's amazing, isn't it? Well, windsurfing back then.
So, like on the Neil Pride website, there's like a timeline thing, which is quite cool. So, 1990, Neil Pride is the #1 windsurfing brand. 1990, like those are the videos I remember looking at. That videos like rigmarole, moving target, fast forward. Like I used to, honestly, I've said this lots of times on the live streams before, but I used to look forward to that video every Christmas. And weirdly, this is going to sound very weird, I can still smell it. Is that weird? Like it sounds.
It had a smell, did it?
I don't know. Like when I think back to windsurf from the early days, there's something about the smell of it. I don't know. That sounds really weird.
Yeah. Maybe it was the VHS tapes that have a plasticky smell or something.
Yeah, just something.
But those. I know what you mean. Those videos, that's the whole reason why I started up a YouTube channel filming windsurfing, is because of those VHS. Like all those days, because I grew up with all that as well. I mean, you and I are the same age, so we basically went through exactly the same experience with those videos coming out. I love those videos. Like, in fact, I loved them so much that I was able to contact Robert Masters, the guy who made them. You know him?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Yeah, because I hear like those videos are an inspiration. Like I basically were like, oh, cool. These, they were actually, they had pretty big budgets for those videos, and they had helicopters and boats and the whole thing.
Yeah.
And, just cool. Like it was all really, it's just the style. It was like a really professional, like that kind of high end sort of production values. Anyway, I sort of, sorry, go on.
No, I was just going to point out, I've seen those pictures, like, how everyone's like, oh, it's so much hassle to film and do this. And like these days we've got little GoPros and all this stuff. Back in the day when Robert Masters and that were doing it, you see those videos of the head cams and how big they are.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. It's like this 10-kilo thing hanging off your head. I don't know. It's pretty dangerous, actually. But yeah, I contacted Robert. Actually, I managed to get his details off. So I can't remember his name, but the guy who runs Hot Sales.
Oh yeah.
In Maui, and Jeff Henderson, is it? That's his name,
Jeff,
I think.
Yeah, Jeff. Yeah.
And I found, and I managed to speak. I got his phone number, and I ended up speaking about 4 times over a period of about, I don't know, 4 weeks with his wife, actually, because Robert was, I think, a bit shy, and I ended up having these long conversations with his wife, who actually ended up being, I found out, was they were both involved together in making the videos. So I thought, it's okay, Robert Masters has got his name on it, but it was actually his wife that was heavily involved in it all as well. And she was actually quite interested that I had an interest in it, because I'm assuming they don't get calls every day asking about their old windsurf videos. But unfortunately, like I was trying to get a podcast or something like that to, organize with Robert Masters. I thought, how cool would that be? But it just didn't happen. I think, unfortunately, my powers of persuasion just weren't quite strong enough. And but maybe you can do it, Ben, because that's a really big part of windsurfing history right there, is that Robert Masters and all the videos he made, and with his wife and the whole thing, because they were cool, those videos. They were really cool, And he didn't just do the Neil Pride ones. They did the Gastra ones as well, like Heart and Soul, and
the Tiger,
probably a few other brands. There's
a few funny ones. I mean, there's so many videos, and I think like nowadays you don't see that as much, because there's so much content and little snippets here and there that the big movies don't get made, because the budget to film windsurfing is harder, even though we've got better technology now. But you don't have those iconic things. Whereas back in the day when they released a video, it was a big deal. Like it was like it was massive. And now so many, it's kind of diluted it all, which I kind of, like I said, everyone thinks they want more, but when you're given more, doesn't always have the right effect. And I definitely I see that like a lot, even with YouTube. People want more videos, but when you make more videos, you notice people don't want more, because then they're not looking forward to it. So it goes back to what we were saying before. Some people just don't really know what they want. Again, me either. Sometimes you have to just pull it back a bit.
But I've sorry, are you gonna say something?
No, I was just gonna say maybe we do one more question.
Okay. Yep.
How's your early 2000s freestyle? Well, okay, I'll give you a category choice: speed or freestyle.
Speed.
Freestyle. Okay.
Only because freestyle, I was not doing any of that in the early 2000s, and plus I didn't know much what was going on in that world. So I'll go with speed. So
your chosen subject is speed. I would like you to tell me the name of the person and the place for a bonus point of where the 30-knot barrier was broken.
Weymouth.
Oh, easy. Easy. Who was it?
It was it Pascal Marker?
No, it wasn't Pascal Marker.
Hold on. No, sorry. What's that guy? The Neil Pride with the bald head and
that's
Fred Hayward.
Yes, Fred Hayward. He went so fast, all his hair blew off.
What did Pascal Marker do? So what was his claim to fame then?
So funny you should say that. I've got. I'm going to share with you another screen, which has got like a lot of the list of things that have happened over the years. I think it's this one. I mean, this is a massive list. Even I can't hardly read it. But Pascal Macker beats off the challenge from 9 times hydrofoil. Oh, doesn't say the speed. I'm pretty sure was Pascal Macker 35 knots or something like that. Because 40 knots was.
I know what it was because he beat Crossbow, right? Wasn't that the thing?
Maybe that's what it was. Yes. Maybe that it wasn't. Let me have a quick.
Yeah,
So in 1983, at the Weymouth Speed Trials, Fred Hayward enters the scene with a new record of 30.82 knots. Big backup team from Hawaii, including Barry Spanier, Jeff Bourne, using a carbon wing instead of a mast. That's mad, isn't it?
Yeah, they used to try, like if you look up some of the old photos from those days, they had some really crazy ideas, they were really like to try different things, didn't they?
It was mad. Like 1984, Englishman Peter Bridgman, you'd never heard of him, becomes the second man faster than 30 knots. Jenna de Rosnay becomes the fastest lady at 27.09 knots.
Yeah, cool. Well, that's cool, isn't it? Oh, it'd be cool if you could get her on the channel on the podcast.
Eric Beale. That was going to be another question. Who beat the 40-knot barrier?
Yeah.
Eric Beale. I mean, and when you meet Eric, he's tiny. He's probably my size or whatever, but he's not a big fella. So I think those early speed days were super interesting.
Oh,
but I'll save a few of the questions.
Yeah, there's a question here. I might as well answer. Jeff Houtman is saying, PVB, did you use a black slalom board in WA about 20 years ago? No. The answer is no.
I always wanted one of those Neil Pride black boards. Always, and then
those ones. No, they weren't black. They were grey, weren't they?
Well, the original ones, I'm pretty sure in the videos were black. But
sorry, you're right.
They delaminated.
In Moving Target and those ones, because I sort of skipped the real early Neil Pride, and then it was more like Rigmarole and Instant Replay. They had more like the grey boards. Remember them? Yeah,
because they had to change them, I think, because they all blew up.
All right, okay.
All right, dude.
Oh well. Anyway, I'm glad that we sorted that out, Benny, and we can now rest easy, because the last couple of nights I've been having sleepless nights, worrying that you're going to lose all your beer money and just be thrown on the street.
Yeah, I said to Phil, man, this might go wrong. We're after to start working down the local pub or something. We're all good, man. Thanks again for joining me. Like I said, we will be doing a quiz. I'm gonna set it up. We'll see. We'll see how it all works out. But I'd like to do a big windsurfing quiz. We'll get a few other guys on. We'll get a quiz master. I want to do it, so that's the hardest thing. But I'll be a quiz master. There's no problem with that. And we'll do like fastest finger first. So thanks to everyone for tuning in. Thanks for supporting the channel. The guys that still support the channel. Like I said, we will be doing the nerdy ruler measuring competition, all that, with plus some funny stuff. It is a channel, it's not a single program, so we will be mixing it up. There's going to be highs, there's going to be lows. There's going to be, I could be back on the street this time next year. Massive thanks to Paul as well. Check his channel out if you've not seen it. There's some good windsurfing, not just the trashy crazy content. There's also some amazing windsurfing drone footage on there, which if you look at the views, that is what people want to see. Some people don't like music. They just want to sit down and have some really good windsurfing with the drone. And the drone is the tool, and this man is the man.
And just on that as well, just quickly, for anyone that was listening to the podcast with Ben and I the other day, I mentioned about whether or not I was going to go to Fiji for the IWT event. And that has sort of become more likely lately because Simeon said that I can fly a drone. He's got the green light for me to fly a drone in Fiji without the proper accreditation, so to speak. So fingers crossed that one comes, that happens, because yeah, I hope, you know, just getting a good video at Cloudbreak would be epic.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens there.
On a separate note to that, there might be,
yeah.
there is a small possibility I might be getting out there, but we're not going to say anything just yet. But there is a chance. So let's see. I'm quite hopeful there's a chance, but let's see how it all works out. But again, thanks everyone for tuning in. We'll see you for Send It Sunday, or it could even be Send It Sessions. I'm not quite sure what's happening this Sunday. I will figure it out, and we'll see you for the next one. Cheers, dude. Thanks very much.
See you later. Bye guys. Bye.